Hello, I'm Mike. Welcome to another Wordsworth Model Railway tutorial. Today we're going to discuss how to build the Wordsworth Model Railway tunnel portals. I've designed these tunnel portals to be used with single or double track. Now the construction technique for the tunnel portal build is pretty straightforward. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so let's clear a space and let's get to the first sheet we need. And we will start with the actual tunnel portal apertures themselves. As can be seen, I've already glued the printed kit onto the correct cardstock. In this case, it's 2mm card. And to start with, we will cut out this section and this section. We will leave all these pieces still attached to the 2mm card so we can put to one side for now, and we know we're not going to lose any pieces. So to keep the video as short as I can, I won't actually bore you with the cutting out. I'm sure you will all manage quite fine, but basically you will need a box knife or a craft knife for cutting, and I prefer a steel rule. Okay, as can be seen, I've now got the two sections cut out from the 2mm card. One piece of advice: this is quite thick card. What I would do, make sure you have a sharp blade and just make slow, light cuts. Let the knife do the cutting. Don't force it through the card, and just keep going down and down and down. It might take 5-6 attempts before you actually get through the card. By using that method, you will ensure that the knife won't slip and won't go into your fingers or thumbs. As can be seen, each one of these has the single arch portal and the double arch portal. Same here. The choice is yours. You can build it as a single or a double. If it's a single, just cut this one out and this one out. If you want a double tunnel portal, which is what I'm going to show you today, we will cut the outer red line and the outer red line on this one. Like I said, I want to keep this video as short as possible, so I won't show you me cutting these out. But remember, it's 2mm card, so light, slow strokes, and let the knife do the cutting. Never force the knife through the card. Okay, so we've now got the apertures cut out. What I need to remind you is, don't throw these sections just yet. We will use these two pieces later when we actually put the arched former in. What we can use is this piece just to make sure that the former stays nice and tight until the glue actually grabs and holds. Then they can be removed again and disposed of. Okay, let's move on to the next step. What we need to do now is remove this section from this piece of 2mm card. So let me just stop the video whilst I cut this piece out. Okay, we've got the section removed. This is the tunnel fascia itself, but you'll notice there's no aperture. So what you need is the backing piece, and what you will do is flip this section over. This is the piece that will glue onto the back, so it then becomes 4mm card. And what you need then is using this as your template. Make sure it's all nice and square. Let's bring it down. And what you'll do is we'll just go round and we'll mark the aperture that we will cut out. There we go. All we have to do now is use the craft knife again and slowly go round cutting this piece out. Once this is out, we can then glue this onto here and then put it to one side for the glue to dry. Okay, there we go. We've now got the aperture cut out in the fascia, and we've also got the fascia support. These now need to be glued back to back. Okay, so I've now glued the sections back to back, and what I prefer to do is using offcuts, pieces that you cut out for window apertures and doors. I always like to keep these. These make nice packing pieces so that these bulldog clips that hold the piece together aren't actually in contact with the surface of the kit itself. Now we'll just leave that for about 15-20 minutes for the glue to actually take hold, and then we can carry on working on the kit. Right, the next piece we will work on is the actual tunnel arch former. So what we will do, this is made from 1mm card. We will cut the outline and throw away the surplus, and then these red lines, you need these red lines because 1mm card is pretty tough to fold without getting creases and knots and all sorts. So what we will do, once we've got this cut out, we will start at the center point and we will lightly score down each one of these, taking it so it's virtually halfway to 3/4 way through the card, and you'll do all these right down to the end. Once you've done that, this will form into a nice arch ready to be glued into the tunnel port aperture. Okay, here we are. I've now taken the time, I've cut out the section, I've gone down each one of these red lines with a steel rule and using the craft knife to score into the card. And what you can do now is just lift the piece up and see how easy it now forms into those nice smooth arches, just because you've taken time to do the scoring. Put that back down for now, because this now needs to be glued into the tunnel portal. Right, what we will do is glue the arch former into the inner tunnel former itself. So let me apply some glue to this, and what I'll do is I'll try and capture this bit on video so you can see what I'm talking about. So we'll get some PVA glue, get the former, start in the centre and work your way around, applying a nice coat of glue. So that's one half done. Let's get some more PVA for the other side. Right, and then same again from the centre, work your way out. Get a nice coating onto that surface. Right, now then, this is the tricky part. What we have to do, place it flat, get your arch and form it into an arch shape and push it in like so. Now can you remember those pieces I said keep? Here's one. Turn it round, and what you do is just gently push it in. There we go. Like so. And if we turn this round, see how it's pushed nicely up to the former, so there's no gaps. What we do is we lift that up. It's nice and flush this side. We just need to put that to one side and let the glue dry. Right, okay, the glue's had sufficient time to actually grab the bond. I'll leave this section in for now. Now, you might think this is going to be a little bit awkward now, but these sections here need to be trimmed off. Now, you could do this before you actually glue it into place. What you could do is put the arch former in, then put this in, and then mark each side and then cut the surplus off before you put it in. The only downside to that is sometimes, like as can be seen here, I started off equally, but as it's gone in, it's actually slid round, so this ends further down. You just need to mess about with it if you are going to use the other method, but I prefer doing it this way. Choice is yours. Okay, now as we can see, I've trimmed off the bottom section, and this now is the finished item, which is the inner support. The fascia will now glue onto this section here. Okay, let's get this fascia glued onto this former. Just as we did before, we will apply PVA to the inner surface, and then we will just drop this over the former and then hold in place with the surplus arch section like we did before, and then put it to one side till it's glued and dried. Okay, I've got the PVA on the inner edge, and what we will do this time, it's just slightly different. We'll leave it standing up and then line it up with the edge, and then we just drop it down so that it hits the bottom of the cutting mat. There we go, look. We now know it's square. Let's just push that section back in a little bit. That's good. Don't let that drop too far back. Right, now just let her drop down. Make sure she's square. And then using the section like we did before, just snugly push it in. It's tight. Oh, it's bounced out. Let's do it this way. There we go. And that's it in. Now just leave that to glue and let it set, and then we're ready to carry on working on the tunnel portal. Okay then, we've now got our tunnel portal to this stage. The next step will be to actually line the archway, and to do that we need to cut out this section here. Okay, so we've got our brick paper cut out, but before we can actually use it, what we need to do is the fillet section, or the brick fillets, or the soldier course, whatever you want to call it. What you have to do to get these so that they bend round the archway correctly, you have to cut down each line from this grout line here. You have to cut down each one individually. I know it's boring, I know it's painful, but it has to be done. It will make a lot neater finish. So let me get on with cutting these soldier courses ready for folding. Okay, right, I've now scored all the soldier courses. If we just flick it over, let's see if I can show you the cut marks. Yeah, there you go. They're the bits that will fold up over the tunnel fascia. Now we just have to glue that into the arch former. Here we go. Now we've got the brick paper attached to the arch former and onto the tunnel portal fascia itself. The next sections we want to work on are these. These are the tunnel fascia supports, and there's 5 strips per side, left and right. So I've now cut out the left and the right sections. What we will do is work on the left section first. So we'll move the right one out of the way and we'll cut out each individual one of these. Right, we've now got our left and right tunnel fascia supports glued together. We just need to leave them to dry for a little while, and then the next step is to cover those in brick paper. So we take our printed sheet, which has the brick coverings for the left and right. We will cut these out and then we'll wrap these round the sub bases. Right, so we've got our brick paper and we've got our 2 supports. What I'll show you is how we cover the left hand support with the brick paper. Right, so I've got the pieces ready to be glued. What I'm using is a cutting mat. Get these from Wilko's. They come in packs of 3s or 5s, and they're about 99p, and they're a polyvinyl substance, which means if the glue gets on it, you can just wash it straight off. So what I've done is marked the centre so that I know where to position the sub base, and then we'll just fold these up and round. So let's get some glue on. I like to use these Pritt sticks. Give it a good coat. Make sure you get right up to the edges. Right, here we go. So get the support, place it on the paper. Sorry about that, I wasn't paying attention to the camcorder telling me that we'd come to the end of the disc, so I'll take you through the right tunnel support fascia now. Right, Pritt stick, once again, make sure we give it a good coat. Get right up to those edges, because it's the edges that are important. You don't want them coming loose. Right, we've now got that coated nicely. Right, get the support, place it in the centre, Let's get rid of the glue mat. Right, the trick now is to roll this over, trying to keep a nice crisp edge. Right, we've got that. And then if we can roll it over, completing that roll, make sure it's still down. There we go. Spin around, same again, bring it over, trying to keep those nice crisp edges, and then the final roll, and you've now completely covered the support. What we can do is, there's the other one, and then if we bring the tunnel portal in, they will be glued in place there and there. But before I glue those in place, we need to do the tunnel top fascia support. Right, here we are. So this is the next section I want to cut out. This is the tunnel fascia lintel sub-base support. Right, we've cut out the sub-base. What we need next is the actual tunnel fascia lintel covering, which is this section here. So let me cut this out. Right, we've got our lintel sub-base and our lintel covering. What we will do is, just like before, flip it over. As can be seen, I've marked where I want this to go in the centre. Can you see the lines? Yep. Right, we will just apply some prick glue. There we go. Right, what we'll do, get the sub base, line it centre, lift it up. Right, and what you need to do, just like before, roll this section back, trying to keep a nice crisp edge. Oops. Try and not let it fold like that did. There we go. And then fold it all the way over, like so. And then the other way, like so. Let's get it so it squares up. There we go. Right, that's your covering. Right, we're now ready to glue all the pieces we've been working on to date onto the tunnel itself. So we'll start with the left support. Get some glue, apply it to the back, like so. And the right hand side, like so. And the lintel support fascia, like so. Just put them down. Let's get the glue out the way. Right, we'll start with the left support. Goes right on the edge and level with the top and bottom. Just let it move about a little bit and then firm down. Then you want the fascia. Put that in. Make sure it's level at the top. Firmer down. And then the last piece is the right hand side. Level at the top, level at the ends, level at the bottom. Give it a bit of a squirm. There we go. Right, we've now got the basic shape for our tunnel portal. Coming together rather nicely. Let's put this to one side for this glue to dry. Right, the next section I want to work on are these ones here. These are the capping stones for those supporting walls that we put on the tunnel fascia. So let's cut these out, and then we've got some matching coverings and we'll get those together. So I'll just get these cut out. Right, so I've now got my fascia support capping stones and their cover strips. All I have to do now is wrap each one around each section, and then we're ready to glue in place. Okay, we've got the coverings now on the capping stones. We just need to glue the top one onto the lower one, the top one onto the lower one, and then we can get these onto the supporting walls. So the next piece we need is this tunnel top capping section here. So let me just get this one cut out. Okay, we've got our tunnel top covering and our tunnel top capping sub base. Just need to wrap this round this. So let me use the Pritt stick and just wrap this round. Right, here we go. I've now glued the capping stones in place onto the tunnel portal. The next step is to make the buttress walls now. So here we are, the left and right buttress walls. Let me just cut these out and then I'll show you how we prep them. So this is the left and right buttress wall, and if I just bring the tunnel portal into view, these will be angled slightly onto the left and right wall, like such. We've still got the buttress end walls, buttress end wall, and then we've got the buttress wall capping strips to go on here. Once we get those sections done, your tunnel portal is ready for your layout. Right, now we've got the buttress walls. What we need to make now is the buttress wall end sections. This is the left and this is the right. So I'll just cut these sections out and then we'll get them glued together, and then once again we wrap these in brick paper. We've now got the individual pieces for the left and right buttress wall ends. All we have to do now is glue these 5 sections to form the left one and these 5 sections to form the right one. We now have our 2 buttress end walls, the left and the right. What we need to do now is use these brick paper to wrap around each one of these sections. Right, we're now ready to cover the buttress end walls. Let's start with the left one. Make sure you apply plenty of glue to the covering. Then get the buttress sub base, put it central, and then fold it over. Oops. And then over, and then same again. And then over. There we go. That's the left one. And now we'll do the right one. And then the right one. Now we need to do the buttress end wall capping stones. That's these 2 here. So let me cut these out. Right, we've now got our 2 buttress end walls complete with capping stones. Right, we're now ready to work on the last 2 pieces, and that is the buttress wall capping stones. Okay, now the finishing touches have been applied. We've got the buttress walls attached, the buttress end walls, all the cappings are on. We just need to let the glue dry and it's ready for your layout. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and more than that, I hope you enjoy the effort that I've put into designing the kit. Thank you.